Good morning, afternoon and evening, my crazies. My name's Angela. I'm the Crazy Poppy Lady and welcome back to another stitch a week. This week's stitch is the houndstooth. Now, I absolutely love this one because it's really simple, really quick, but just by using two different shades of yarn. In my case, I've got a blue and an off-white. By using these two different shades of yarn, you can make a super cool pattern that looks a little bit like a tooth, or at least a houndstooth, which is why it's called that. So the stitches you're going to need to know to create this today is how to chain, how to do a single crochet, how to do a double crochet. That's it. And then of course you're going to need your two alternate colours. Choice is completely up to you, and of course your favourite hook and your yarn. So for this I've of course used a DK. Now the DK is actually the blue for this one, I didn't realise, but my blue is a Stylecraft DK and the colourway is turquoise and the shade number is a 1068. For the beige I've actually used my Aldi. As I said, I'm still trying to use that up, but the two yarns are very compatible in thickness, so that's really lucky. Right, so let's get on with showing you how to do this stitch. Right, so let's get started. Now for this one you are going to need of course the two colours. I've got my option A, which is my blue, and my option B, which is my white. It is totally up to you what colour you use and for what option. Right, so first up what we will be doing is chaining. Now for a stitch a week, gang, you are going to need to chain a 27. For everybody else, if you're using this to make a blanket or anything else, you just need an odd number of stitches. Okay, that is it, an odd number of stitches. So let's get chaining. So for me, I've only done 11. Right, so now it's time to start a row number 1. Now this one is nice and easy. All we need to do is pop a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. Okay, our next stitch is a double crochet into the next chain. Followed by a single crochet. And next one up is a double. So as you can see, that is our pattern all the way along. It is single crochet, then double crochet, and then single crochet, then double. Alright, and we are just going to repeat that all the way to the end. Now you should, in theory, finish up with a double crochet. So you're going to start with a single and end with a double. Right, but don't finish at that double crochet until I catch up with you, or you catch up with me. Okay, so now I'm going to pop in a quick pause point. Click on that, click pause, and I'll meet you back here in a moment. Right, so we are back for this very last crochet. Now the reason I said wait for me or catch me up is because with this one we will be changing our colour on the last pull through of the stitch. Okay, so we're going to hook over, we're going to pop our yarn through, hook over again and pull up our yarn, hook over, pull through, 2 and stop. Now we're going to take option B, pop that on our hook and pull it through. That is it. That is the end of row number 1. Right, so now we are about to start row number 2. Now what we are going to be doing is we are going to be working over our option A yarn as we go. Okay, so this is tip number 1. Saves us having to sew in any ends at all. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to chain 1, and then we are going to turn our work. Okay, making sure that we're not too tangled up with our ends. Now we are going to lift that blue and have it sitting on the top so that we can work over it. Okay, so you ready? The very first stitch we're going to pop in is of course a single crochet into our very first placement there, making sure that you're working over that blue yarn or your option A yarn. Then our next stitch is a double crochet. Again, we are working over our option A yarn. Now we're going to carry on this stitch repeat all the way to the end, but don't do the last double crochet. Okay, just keep working along and then meet me back here in a few moments once you have finished this row up to that last stitch. I'm going to pop a pause point in here so that you can freeze the screen and come back to me when you get to the end of your row. Right, so now we are coming up to our very last double crochet, and as you can see here it is a little bit hidden, but before we do that double crochet, okay, what we're going to do is lay our work down, pop your finger on the end and give your option A yarn a gentle tug, okay, so that it sits in line with the rest of your work. Okay, so then you won't have any bobbling sections that will pop through. Okay, so that's something I always do before I do my last stitch. That's tip number 2. Right, so and now it's time to do the last stitch for this row, which of course is a double crochet. But again, we are going to be changing the colour of our yarn over, and we are going from option B back to option A. So pop your hook through, pull up your yarn, complete your double crochet halfway. Then we are going to pull up our yarn, okay, the option B, and we're done. And that is the end of our repeat row. Now that is the row that we are going to be doing backwards and forwards until, if you are working with a stitch a week, you will need to repeat row 2 for 21 rows in total. Okay, so that includes this first blue one, and then you count up and you should end with an option A row. For everybody else, keep going till your project's finished. And the very last tip I can give you is when changing your colours over, make sure that the old colour that you are using is sitting at the front before you pull up your new colour. That way when you turn your work, it will be sitting in the right place for you to be able to just lift it, to be able to work over it. Now if you do it slightly wrong, don't panic too much. It just means it's going to be a little bit fiddly. Okay, so if your colours are round the wrong way, okay, you're going to hook over, and of course you're going to need to turn your work. As you turn your work, instead of twisting it round, just lift your yarn forward. Okay, this is, as I said, is where it is more fiddly, because you've got your chain 1 there. Then you're going to have to hook under that yarn to then find that very first stitch, to pull it up and pull it through. That will then place your yarn into the right spot, and of course when you get to the other end you'll be able to see it a little bit easier for when you tug it. Okay, so as I said, go for the first option. It is a lot easier than having it like this. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly go over the turn and then leave you to get on with it. So it is a chain 1, turn your work, make sure you've got your colour that you're working over close to hand. Then you are going to go into the second chain from the hook and pop in a single crochet, and then a double crochet into the next, and work your way along, working over the other unworked yarn. Okay, all the way to the end. And that is how lovely and simple and easy this stitch is. Right, I will meet you back here in a few moments to do the very last stitch with you. Right, so we're back for the very last stitch, and all we are going to do here of course is place that double crochet into the very last stitch, and this time there is no need to change the colour. Right, and then we are going to chain 2, pull up our yarn, scooch down the knot, to tie it off, and that is it. That is our square all complete. And now it's just a case of sewing in your ends and you're finished. Right, so there you go. That is the end of today's tutorial for the houndstooth. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see the squares and other projects that you make using this stitch. So remember, send me those photographs. All information on how you can do that is in the description box down below, where there is of course an email address and the link to take you over to our Facebook group. Right, I'm going to head off now. I will see you all really soon, so if you can, please stay in and definitely stay safe. Ta-ra for now, everybody.